dementia, and I'm there already. But the point is, it's selective dementia, as we all have. But there's memory care, and there's assisted living, there's memory care, then there's nursing care. Memory care is not a component.
You would move to a different facility if you required memory.
If we were to have a transition for memory care units, we'd have to come back before and amend the PRRO to do such. That's something that we couldn't do unilaterally. Likewise,
with the question of nursing home, you couldn't do that unless you came back to the township to amend the PRRO.
That's correct. And that would institute new public hearings also. An amendment to the PRO constitutes a new public hearing process.
Well, I don't know if you're aware, but we just went through somebody wanting to amend a PUD on the corner of Silverville and Adams. And, all they want to do is put a sign up and have a veterinary clinic. If you talk about putting a memory center and a nursing home, good luck to you.
Understood. That's why those protections. Don't trust me. Trust your document that you're going to enforce.
Right.
This community is going to surpass my lifetime. It's generations beyond my own and your own. And so
there are some people in the audience, not tonight, but in past meetings, that wanted to make you correct on that. That's going to surpass your lifetime. I mean, actually getting it approved is going to surpass that. Yeah, some of them.
We don't all feel that way about Dominic.
I didn't mention names, but a good question to write. We are concerned about the safety of the residents in here. The boardwalk that is to the north has a railing on it. So I'm not just talking about seniors, but so that kids aren't falling off that thing in the dry creek that's there.
I would like the Pathways Trailways Commission to take a very close look. The Road Commission mentioned the pedestrian crosswalks, and that's something that's a condition to the Road Commission's purview. I think they're too lax. I really want some, my wife and I, at least 4 to 5 nights daily, we cross that intersection in our daily walks. And I feel it, I live it. And I know there has to be some significant pedestrian mitigation done for the intersection for Dutton and Adams. So that's something that I would like the Parks Director and the Trailways Commission to really look and study to how that could be improved beyond the Road Commission standards.
Well, one resource you have is Mr. Folk out here who spent quite a few hours of his life in the looking into pathways, trailways, and
yeah, I serve on the Trailways Advisory Committee. We'll have a look at that.
Rest assured it won't go unexamined. Other questions, comments? The character question. Anybody comfortable to be bold enough to say whether this does or does not maintain the rural character? No? Still noodling it?
Still thinking it over, because I know that when we look at the corner of Adams and Dutton right now, where the Oaklands would be on your right if you're facing north, that much of that, which is on your left, which is totally rural, will now match what's on your right. In other words, manicured landscaping on that corner in both directions. Complete with berm, evergreens, that type of thing. And while some people might call that messy, or what's there right now is totally rural, I think many of the roadways in our township, that is the rural character. And we will lose that.
Well, that's a good question.
It will become matched with what is in Oakland Hills.
Let's ask that question. Is that the intent, is to match up the berm and the landscaping on the northwest corner of Adams and Dutton to what you see in the northeast corner?
Which is what I consider manicured.
Right.
It'll be softened. It'll be a blend of the natural trees that you see there, preservation of that. What you have right now, majority is vines.
Right.
It is
scrub.
Caputo, that's not scrub. That's vines that are killing the existing trees. It's choking off the existing vegetation. The vines are taking over that corner. I'm not exaggerating this. Those are vines that you see. They're not trees. And the trees that have sprout up at the south end of the development are poplars, which are illegal to plant. That was farmed, at least to a farmer that we've owned the property for several decades. We're releasing it. It was no longer being in-till. And so the south of the wood line, what we call the true hard wood line, is poplar trees. And they're just sprung up to kingdom come, which we couldn't plant in the township because it's a tree that is prohibitive to be planted. And so that I understand is what you see today. And I understand there's appreciation for that openness and stuff. But there's some things that have to be blended together and respected. So we're not going to make it a hard, clean, manicured corner, nor is it going to be the present way you look at it today. So it'll be more shrubbery on the south side of the berm, softened shrubs. Don is the expert landscape architect, and he'll spec out the softer shrubs and maybe throw out some names of what those would be, whether it's forsythia and other shrub-like trees and flowering stuff. But it won't be the manicured crabs. We have trellis. Now, what's going to be on those trellises will be vines. So if you recall the entryway at the main entrance across from Lansing Boulevard, with the natural stone columns with a pergola on top. Well, it's not to be a naked pergola and clean. The idea of that pergola is that we're going to wrap and get some rooted vines and have the vines wrap on that pergola to soften it up. We want it to look like it's been there for 40, 50 years from day one. That's our goal.
So you won't see cut grass?
You will see some cut grass, but it's not, the predominance is not going to be cut grass. You would definitely see some, but that's part of the phosphorus control. I'll let Mr. Westphal take over. We have that in mind for the site.
I think the issue is there's a difference in creating berms. It's difficult to maintain grass on berms that are tall enough to get the job done in the space that's available. And so, plantings of shrubs and ground covers and so forth are much more appropriate in those kinds of circumstances.
But not in a formal tiered manner, but simply in more of a natural looking?
Drifts of materials.
Okay.
And the goal is to create a year-round interest. You try to, you have evergreens that'll give you color in the winter. As they've done along Adams, drifts of annuals that'll be there in the spring, and then flowering materials during different times of the year, in addition to fall color. It's an important part of doing what you do, and the other part of it is that we've had experience with planting of one specific variety or two specific varieties. When all the elms died, we planted all ash trees, and now all the ash trees. So the wisdom today is that you plant a variety of materials. So
spreading risk. Well, and to be fair, the landscaping plan is a much later submittal here anyway. So the question that we have today
right to that, we were talking about character, and that was one item I brought up. I'm not saying that the rural atmosphere and the landscaping at this particular point is the only part of the character of this township. I was trying to go through the master plan right now because I'm looking for more definition of character. I can't find it right now. I wish I had a bit of time, but I believe there is more information about the character of this township that should be applied to this question than I can come up with right away tonight.
We'll have time.
My earmarked version, and I need a bit more time. That was just one.
Do that for the January.
Do it for the January.
We're not going to be making any adjustments.
You're going to have a new plan anyway to look at. So.
You're asking me when I think so far, and again, there are points I'm bringing up, but yeah, I need.
Jury's still out, but
the ownership question brought up our thoughts as well, and I just need a bit of time to double check the ownership of the property. Again, what I think is character, and like I said, I didn't have enough time to glance at this master plan. Probably go back to the questionnaires and the surveys we've done as well to help define the character and even check the zoning, both of them at this point, because it is defined. And I would like to take that and make sure that this matches, or any development that comes before us, matches or is part of this master plan and this character. I believe character can be flexible too, but I just want to check that and make sure it's in sync.
Yeah, okay. Anybody else on the character question, the rural character? So we talked about traffic, we talked about density, we talked about...
Can I make a point about traffic, by the way?
You can.
Especially since I won't be at the January meeting to hear all this stuff.
You kidding me, Ryan? We're going to reschedule. Can we, I don't want to do it without Roger.
Phone in. Looking at the little table that Mr. Nix did, and then looking at the number of units, and it's really difficult because I didn't bring my calculator with me, but single family, that would amount to, if you buy all these numbers here that were presented.
What page are you on there, Roger?
Page 6. Single total for the per day for the entire project test plan would be 584 for the whole day.
Correct.
And attached senior would be 988. And I thought, boy, that's
correct.
wild. However, if you look at these AM peak and PM peak, it's kind of interesting. Single family is 46 for the data, and attached it's 37. That's AM. PM peak is 61 for the test plan and 49 for the proposal.
98's incorrect. With
Did I do that wrong?
348 that Mr. Nix has on there is for the attached senior duets and ranch only. It's not the trip generation for the independent. There's a separate chart.
That's a separate chart.
Yeah, it seems to be traffic trip was the last page. And the traffic's,
I guess the point I was making, and it'd probably be good to look at all that, the point I was making is that if you look at the peak, AM peak and PM peak, it does tend to validate some of the speculation that the test plan would be more.
yeah.
Right.
But the 3.48 is just for one type of use. So that's why it's what's in the data has which is greater than the total daily trips for our proposal is a greater number of total daily trips than the test plan. Those total daily trips for our proposal is in the mid-700, 760 plus minus. I don't have that figure in front of me. It's not the 988. And then the quantitative numbers that Mr. Nix uses for peak hour traffic, those are absolutely correct. And that 3.48 is correct for one unit type, not for the other unit types of 156 units.
You'd have to expand that out and add the other unit type numbers and then combine those.
I think just for the record, we ought to have that number in front of us. You know.
It's,
Yeah, we don't need it right now, but yes.
No,
Right.
not
Right.
for
Mhm.
January.
Mr. Nix would be the ITE table. Right. In 2008.
Okay. We've covered a lot of ground. I know you're not inclined to make any recommendations or motions at this point, but just to make sure I want to do two things. I want to make sure that we've covered what you want to cover tonight with regard to the issues raised in Mr. Nix's memo, the PRRO eligibility, the standards that have to be met. Is this development consistent with the Township master plan? Does it provide an enhancement to the area compared to what would be permitted under the current zoning? And that enhancement would not be available in the absence of the PRO designation, we've talked about that this evening.